Welcome back to Rare Elvis Photos. Hope you're having a great day. You're probably watching this after I've loaded the Child Bride episode with Priscilla. This is Elvis in the Twilight of Memory, Juno Winico. I would highly suggest you go buy it. I don't know if she sells copies anymore. I don't think she does. I don't think it's still in print. The book cost me maybe close to $90 if I remember right. It's a well written book. Peter Golinek, who's written Last Train to Memphis and other great biographies on Elvis, said that she was a phenomenal writer. And of course, this is Elvis's girlfriend for a very short period of time, but it was a very, very loving, happy, carefree time that she had with Elvis, and Elvis had with her. She's one of my favorite girlfriends of Elvis. And I think she truly loved him for who he was. And I think she also recognized that she couldn't be with the Elvis that was an actual star. She would have been able to be with Elvis the boy, Elvis the non-star, because you're not in control of your life anymore. You're not in control of your choices anymore when you're owned by everybody, and that's the truth. Elvis and all the big artists, they were pretty much owned by the companies, by the managers, by the fans. Instead of trapping Elvis like Priscilla did, she did what she did. So, thank you to you subscribers that are long-term subscribers, new subscribers. There's a couple hundred every week or so I see that come in on my Joe Sins Rare Elvis Photos Facebook. 8,000 subscribers in a month. Thank you for coming over there. And thank you for you that have joined as a member. Appreciate that. Those that gave me super thanks, appreciate that. Let's get reading. Chapter 13 is where we're at right now. Elvis had mentioned his love for water skiing to Eddie and wanted to hire a boat for the day. Now, he didn't care to go on a specified route with a ski instructor for a 10-minute ride. He wanted to go it alone for as long as he pleased. Eddie had a friend, drove in the driveway, pulling a boat behind the car. They launched the boat across the bayou with Elvis, who was extremely sunburned already from the fishing trip and wearing a long-sleeved shirt and long pants to protect his tender skin from the sun. I sat on the bank with his mom and dad, and we watched the boys skiing up and down the bayou. Eddie, riding in the boat, took some shaky, out-of-focus movies for us to laugh about later. Now, after skiing, Eddie joined us for a poolside lunch along with Elvis's mom and dad and the rest of the gang. Elvis kept insisting he wanted to do something nice for Mr. Bellman, and finally Eddie, insisting Elvis call him Eddie, came up with the idea of Elvis making a special appearance at his downtown Biloxi shoe store. "I'd be happy to, Mr. Bellman. Eddie, just let me know when." "I'll talk to my partners, Elvis. How about tomorrow?" "Sounds good to me, Mr. Eddie. I don't have any other plans." Now, the store owner, Dave Rosenblum, together with Eddie and partner Lou Saunier, alerted the radio stations in the area as well as those in Mobile, New Orleans, Jackson, and Hattiesburg. Eddie drove to Gulf Hills and picked up Elvis the next morning, so he was planning to sneak Elvis through the back door, but when they arrived, the streets and sidewalks were so packed with people, they had to get a police escort to let them inside their own store. The police stayed at the front door, allowing the crowd to come inside in shifts. Now, Elvis stayed at the shoe store signing autographs for well over an hour. In appreciation for his time, the three businessmen bought Elvis a 410 gauge Winchester pump-action shotgun. Eddie brought the gun to Elvis later that day along with a hand trap and some skeet targets. This was the first time Elvis had ever shot at flying targets. Later that day, Elvis sent the boys to a hardware store in Ocean Springs, and they bought all the BB guns the store had in stock. My brother Jerry came out to Gulf Hills with a broom handle filled with old 45 records. Elvis sailed the records in the air while we took turns shooting at them. We had our own little BB skeet shoot. That sounds kind of fun. Elvis and I had a quiet dinner with his mom and dad that evening. Elvis checked his schedule and realized that he had to be in Memphis for a personal appearance the following night. Well, he decided to leave early the next morning. The Presleys were leaving too, but Elvis was coming back in a few days. I just didn't know when I'd see the Presleys again, so I said my goodbyes to them, and Elvis took me home. I kissed him goodnight, thinking he was going to turn in early. Are you trying to run me off, June? He asked, following me in the house. I'd never run you off, but you do need to get some sleep. Well, Elvis said. I couldn't go to sleep early if I tried, June. I'd just like to stay here for a few hours and not say a word. I turned on the radio, found some soft music, and he put his head in my lap. A sure sign that he wanted me to run my fingers through his hair. He was almost asleep when the phone rang. Don't answer, June. Just let it ring, please. It might be important. It might be for you, I said, running to catch the phone. The phone call was important, and it did concern Elvis. B. Manuel, a friend of my family, had an 8-year-old daughter suffering from leukemia, little Carol. She was now seriously ill, and she was a big fan of Elvis. She had seen all of his television appearances and had all of his records. They'd passed my house one day when Elvis was out signing autographs in the yard, but Carol was too weak to get out of the car. Now, I'd mentioned this to Elvis, said June, a few weeks before, but in all the excitement, we'd both forgotten all about it. Now, I'd promised to call Mrs. Manuel the next time Elvis was in town. She'd heard about Elvis being at the shoe store, but by the time she and Carol got there, excuse me, Elvis had already gone. Elvis said he's going to stay at my house for a few hours, so I took it upon myself to invite them over. They were going to be at my house within the next 30 minutes. Now, all I had to do was tell Elvis that we were expecting company. I told him he was on the phone, and before I had a chance to tell him anything else, he said, go call her back, June. Tell her I'll be here for a while. You're not too tired, I asked. No, I'm not too tired. Go call. I don't have to call. I've already invited them over, I confessed, smiling. I should have known, he said, grinning back at me. Elvis greeted them at the door when they arrived, and I made the introductions. Carol's eyes were as big as saucers. She was speechless. Elvis took her tiny hand and sat next to her on the couch. Now, to break the silence, Mrs. Manuel and I were talking about how cute the hound dog was on the Steve Allen show. Carol said that she liked the part where Elvis had to turn the dog to face him because it wasn't paying attention. Carol quickly got over her nervousness and was talking up a storm. She liked Hound Dog the best, and her next best was I Want You, I Need You, I Love You. Elvis picked her up, put her in his lap, and started singing her favorite song. Hold me close, hold me tight. I can just see that. Make me through with delight. What a very sweet scene. Here she is, leukemia patient, picking her up, singing her favorite song to her. You know, that had to be probably the happiest moment in her young life ever. Now, she would look in his face and then look down at her hands folded in her lap. He put his hand under her chin, lifted her face up, and she would look at him a few seconds and then back down to the folded hands. He lifted her face one more time and she smiled, unable to take her eyes from his face. That's better. For a minute, I thought you were going to just be like that hound dog, Elvis said, giving her a hug. I felt a lump in my throat when Mrs. Manuel, her eyes filling with tears, whispered thank you to Elvis. He gave her a nod, letting her know that somehow he realized a little of her pain. Well, it was very nice meeting you, Elvis. I do hope we get to see you again, Miss Manuel said, clearing her throat. Do we have to go, Mama? That's what Carol said. Yes, we have to go. Elvis is very busy, and if we don't get home soon, Daddy will be worried about us. Elvis carried the little girl out to the car. Then he kissed her on the forehead. I'll see you when I come to Biloxi again. I promise. Biloxi, sorry. Elvis was back in my lap, relaxing, but this time his eyes were wide open. And I asked him what he was thinking about. Well, I'm thinking about that beautiful child, he said, and the pain her mother must be feeling. You're a sensitive person, Elvis. I think that's one of the things I love most about you. June, did you see the look in Miss Manuel's eyes when I was singing to her little girl? No, I was busy looking at you and Carol, said June. It was the same way my mother used to look at me when I was a little boy. See, she would tuck me in bed at night and kneel down at my side to pray. Then she would look toward the heavens and ask God to watch over me. When she looked down at me again, her eyes would be wide open. It was like her eyes were opening wide enough for me to come in where I'd be safe, he said. I saw that same look tonight in Miss Manuel's eyes, June. Your eyes do the same thing, June, for me. I knew you loved me the first time we met. He lifted his head from my lap and kissed me for a long time. We lay face to face, holding each other until he fell asleep. I finally had to wake him and send him on his way. We kissed goodnight, and he promised to see me in a few days. Well, that's the whole chapter. We got through a whole chapter that time. Let me make sure I mark this right there. Ooh, what was that? That's my other phone. Yeah, thanks for taking this journey with me. You can share the videos around if you'd like. Once again, thank you. Thank you sincerely. And if y'all are wondering about the whole diet, I've been talking about it. I got down to 183 from 196, and boy, it was tough to stay there. I'm back at 187. Pretty much staying between 186 and 188 sort of thing, but it's tough. It's one of those things where if you're still doing it, I applaud it. You're supposed to have one cheat day a month. One cheat day a week. I'm sorry, I might have had a couple cheat days a week, and so it's been difficult to kind of keep the momentum to go down. But still 9 pounds, 10 pounds feels pretty good. A little more healthy. All right, TCB TLC. Till next time, Joe sends Ravers Photos.